Now then, people, it's Joe. It's all Leeds TV, and a new feature on the channel. Gonna continue with. We did an opposition preview as well as our previews. We're now gonna start doing an opposition review just to get the thoughts of the opposition fans, and of course that unreal performance by Leeds United, if I do say so myself. Obviously, Jack's with us, and we've got Keith from the LFC Daytrippers. How are you doing, Keith?
How's it going, lads? Thanks for having me on. Interesting match to talk about, and plenty of incidents.
Yeah, great game. Jack, have you come down yet? I know we lost, but I still feel great, even though we lost, and how heartbreaking it was in the way we lost. But I still feel great.
I'm the same as you, Joe. I mean, no one gave us a chance yesterday. I mean, you looked at the bookies' odds. I think the least you could get were about 8.5 to 1 for us to win. 2 minutes to go. Penalty. Come on. I mean, their asses were twitching yesterday. And I'm so proud. I don't think I've ever been as happy after a defeat as I was yesterday. So proud.
Yeah.
So proud.
Yes, I have to agree with you. We're so lucky we've got Keith as well, because Keith's a massive Bielsa fan. I did a podcast with the LFC Daytrippers on Friday night. Make sure you check them out on social media and, of course, on YouTube. We'll put the links in the description. But, yeah, Keith, I mean, obviously massive fan of Bielsa. You were waxing lyrical on a bit of his history as well on the podcast, which was nice to hear. Talk to me. What are your thoughts on the game itself?
It was an interesting game. It could have gone either way. I know what Jack is saying there. There was a bit twitchy, but the thing with Liverpool, we've sort of built up in the last couple of years under Klopp this belief that 3-3 with 2 minutes to go, there's still going to be a chance. And I know that might sound a bit. We never had that, it's only something new that we've built in, but it was interesting. I was saying it to Joe that the other night on the pod, like I'm a huge Bielsa fan. I have a soft spot for Leeds. Leeds are one of the biggest supported clubs in Ireland. We've loads of fans over here. So it's great to see them back. I don't mean that to sound too patronising, but you guys enjoyed that game yesterday. First game of the season, right? There's no crowd at it, but it's at Anfield. It's against the defending champions. It's 16 years of away. What you didn't win it, but you made a great show for yourselves, and it was great. It was what Bielsa does. I was only saying to Joe before we started, I think there's a lot of people I can maybe come across patronising here, because we're the champs and you've done well. Don't want to rub yous on the head and send yous away. But there's going to be a lot of that happening for Leeds, and I think it's because people. I seen Bielsa being compared to Daniel Farke. People coming up and, saying a naive coach from the championship, and people just don't understand this fella. This man is a genius. This man is one of the greatest football managers in the history of the game. Not like I put him now. Klopp is the best manager in the league, in my opinion. Bielsa is right up there, and he will have Leeds pushing. I was delighted with the game yesterday, even though we only scraped over the line, because I was glad to see that Bielsa didn't change his tactics, didn't change his outlook. Leeds went in there. We're a weakened team as well, I think, that the centre-halves, I mean, Robin Koch, that was his debut, and Struijk is beside him.
Yeah, that's
He's
right,
not
mate,
usually in there. It was a hard task, but look, you've played the game, you've played well, and you'll cause a lot of problems in the league this year playing that way.
Thank you. Thanks, Steve. It's lovely to hear you speak so glowingly about Bielsa and yesterday's performance. Makes a good point there, Jack. Obviously, Robin Koch, Koch, whatever you want to say, he's had maybe two training sessions, gets brought in. You've got Pascal Struijk, who makes his debut at centre-back. We've seen him in the defensive midfield role during the end of the last season, but he made his debut at centre-back yesterday against Liverpool, the reigning champions. First half, they made a few errors for me, a little bit shaky, but it certainly grew into the game. Just how impressed were you, with Pascal Struijk for me, I think, in that second half, 21-year-old, up against the best front three. Just how good do you think he was, Jack?
I mean, for me, I went to watch at 23s a few times last year, and he always plays centre half, but I think his natural position is actually like a Calvin Phillips type position, like a central defensive midfielder. I think that is actually what he is. But I watched him for 23s and play centre half, and I said it's Tash a few times, said it to a few people, this kid has got a future at Leeds United. I mean, it must have been hard. You think a partnership there, Koch, however you want to pronounce it. We've only met Pascal Struijk 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And then he was playing against the best team in the world on the first game of the Premier League season. It was hard. They've never played together, everything, but I thought they did well. They did really, really well. I mean, the front three of Liverpool, we know that. They're more frightening front three. And even when you watched it yesterday, a few times I had my head in my hands. And I'm thinking,
same.
Go forward, you know.
Every time they had an attack, right?
But I thought they contained them well. I cannot really, when I think about the game yesterday, I can't remember once when they actually cut us completely open. You know, I can't, and that's all credit to the back four. I thought, I'd like to Ailing was just, he had Mane in his pocket all
Ailing
game.
was brilliant. Yeah, it was brilliant.
I thought, you know, you make a good point, you know, but I thought defensively, like you say about being cut open, maybe the Wijnaldum chance, maybe the one where Bobby Firmino should probably score just before the pen, the Ailing intercepts, maybe they're the two. But other than that, you're right. I can't really think about maybe if Cooper's in that, maybe we don't lose the game. Do you know what I mean? Who knows? But yeah, you just touched on Ailing there. I think, you know, I know Salah scored a hat-trick. Dallas did okay on his side as well. But Luke Ayling, I mean, we'll ask Keith. I mean, how many defenders have done such a good job on Mane to keep him so quiet? Especially this is Luke Ayling, who's never played Premier League football. He was on Arsenal's books as a youth, went out to Yeovil, Bristol City, then comes to Leeds. And people are questioning the likes of Ayling, Dallas, Click, etc. Can they make the step up? Luke Ayling had the test against Mane, yeah, and he kept him quiet, Keith. Just how impressed were you with Luke Ayling yesterday?
Yeah, I think Ayling's a very underrated player. I think he's an excellent fullback. And the way teams have kept Mane quiet, and Salah as well, is they double up a fullback or they put a centre back that's pacey out there and literally man mark him. Leeds didn't do that. They played with their right full played out there and done a great job on him. You know, Bobby Firmino was getting a lot of stick on Liverpool Twitter and Liverpool social media. I'm a huge Bobby Firmino fan. And I think what Bobby Firmino does, he's not a clinical striker, but he pulls players out and pulls teams all over the place. And that gives Mane and Salah the freedom to move inside. Mane, the best clip Mane had yesterday was running back into his own half and keeping the ball and passing it up into about 30 yards out from goal. You know, like it was ineffective. He was good with the ball, Mane, but he didn't make anything happen. There was no clear chances. We didn't cut you open. A couple of times that we nearly did. When we 22 shots, I think you guys had 5. You know, your keeper didn't have to make too many saves. So it was one of them. Yeah.
Yeah, the best save he made, I think, was from Pascal Strout when he nearly scored an own goal.
Yeah, it was a great save, actually. And he's only a young guy as well, isn't he, the keeper? He's only 20 or something, you know. So it's one of the things, and I don't want to keep harping on about Bielsa, but one of the things people will look at, they think that Leeds will be they won't have any big name stars, and they'll say, they'll go down, they'll be like Fulham, or they'll be like Norwich last year. Like, they're not going to be. Bielsa will have that team playing better than the sum of their parts. It'll be a team, and each player, like, I mean, you touched on Stuart Dallas there, bit of a journeyman. Thought he was excellent yesterday, even though like Salah got a hat trick, 2 of them are penalties, so you can't really, you can't blame Dallas on that. But you know, he'll get players in there, young guys at centre half, young goalkeeper. He'll have players, as you said about Ayling as well, you know, being around the lower teams in the lower league. And he'll have them playing excellent, you know, and they're going to take so many points off big teams this season. It's exciting to see. And again, I don't mean that to sound patronising, you know, that you're going to be doing well, you're going to take points off the big boys. I'm delighted that we got out of that with that win yesterday. You know, delighted. That's one game. First day of the season, we got Leeds. We were joking. Leeds are going to get Liverpool or Man U first day. No doubt about it. It was us. I'm a bit sick it wasn't Ellen Road, to be honest. Get that out of the way with no crowd, and I'd have been happy, you know, because it's going to be a tough place to go if crowds get back in. So look, Leeds, a really good team from the defence into Calvin Phillips in the holding role, an excellent player. Yeah, you know, he got his England recognition, which was great to see for him. I thought Click was brilliant in midfield. I thought Hernandez was anonymous. To be honest, I thought Hernandez was poor.
He was very quiet for Hernandez.
He gave it away a few times as well.
And you don't expect that from him. You know, he's usually so careful with the ball. So he looks after it very well. But I thought he was a bit anonymous. He's getting on. He must be 36, 37, even older maybe. You know, but they've a great team there, really exciting team.
Yeah, I do. I remember, early on in the second half, I made the shout that I thought Pablo needed to come off and Rodrigo come in. But like you say, I think it was Shackleton, wasn't it? But you made a point on Bobby Firmino. I think Patrick Bamford plays a similar sort of role in this Leeds United side, pulling defenders out of way. I know he's nowhere near on Bobby's level, but in terms of, being clinical, etc. Although yesterday he got his opportunity. I do think, though, there was a chance just before when I think he could have lifted it. If he'd have lifted it over him.
Have you watched after, Noise? I think he's admitted that himself as Bamford.
Right.
It's said.
Fair play.
It's like when we were watching that, and I was like, if that had been Mo Salah, it'd just been a little keeper coming out, and it would. But we ain't got Mo Salah, have we?
No. What's the general consensus then on Liverpool and from a Liverpool fan? Like, I know there's been a lot made about Liverpool defensively yesterday, which I think takes a little bit of the shine away from Leeds United, because I think we forced you into that. We forced you into that. I've never seen, and listen, I watch the division that Leeds United are in a lot of the time. So I've not seen loads of Premier League over the last few seasons, apart from the big games that I'll stick on. But I concentrate on the division Leeds are in. But I don't think I've ever seen anybody do what we did to Trent. Trent had a tough game yesterday. Tough game. And what's the consensus from Liverpool perspective? Is it that you were just so poor defensively, or is there more respect being thrown at Leeds?
I think it's a bit of both, and that's being genuine. I think it's a bit of both. I think Liverpool defensively, Virgil van Dijk doesn't make mistakes like that, but he's made a couple since the restart, since the intensity that Liverpool have been at for a couple of years. They won the Champions League and got 97 points 2 years ago. To follow that up and win the league with 99 points, was such an intense pressure on them. And when they won the league, I think the level dropped, and it's like Liverpool haven't got that defensive solidity at the moment, but that's for Liverpool to sort out. I agree with what you said there. Liverpool have not been, no one has done that to Liverpool, right? Liverpool are the team that do that to others. We press relentlessly. We didn't get a minute yesterday. And that was all game. Like, I'm in a WhatsApp chat with the Daytrippers lads, and there's about 20 of us in that chat, and each to a man were saying this, and this is unreal. Are these ever going to get tired? It was just constant pressure. Trent, constant pressure on him. Robertson, constant pressure. The midfield are getting lashed out of Liverpool's midfield because they just couldn't. They were ineffective, but they weren't allowed to play. They weren't allowed to get the ball. We won 4-3. We got 2 penalties. It was, it was a good win by Liverpool. We'll take it any sort of win we can get, but we have not been put under that pressure by teams before, and that's why I think Leeds are going to do brilliant in this league, because that's how you play. That's not a new thing. That's not a first day in the Premier League little boost. Do you know what I mean? That's how Leeds play. And Liverpool fans, I think, are genuinely 50-50 on it. Getting back to the point, like, I think we'd say that there is an element that Liverpool were probably just a bit off defensively, but that Leeds were really good. And I don't want the credit to be taken away from Leeds. I don't want Leeds to be looked at as we said, well done, you were unlucky, pat on the head, run along, you'll get points against the Fulhams and the West Hams of this world. You'll take points off the big guys in that league, no bother.
Yeah, I agree. There was a lot made after. Again, you've mentioned it, Keith. When we've watched these, we know what we're about. We know that we will go to that final minute. Jack, there was a lot made. I think Graham Souness made a comment saying, I've been speaking to Jimmy and asked if they've got a big squad, because they won't be able to go like this for the full, season, making these points. As Leeds United fans, we know that's a lot of tosh, don't we, mate? I mean, we know we will have this intensity. We had it for 46 games. We're now 38. So
I think Klopp. I watched Klopp's post-match speech last night, and he said the thing. He said this will be a walk in the park for Leeds. 38 games. They had 40 odd last year. He said they will cause a problem for everyone. And in respect to Jurgen Klopp for saying that, he knew. I think after the game there, you watched him, and he just went, wow,
didn't he? Yeah, he went, wow. Yeah. He went, wow.
He loves that, but that's what Klopp loves.
He said, what a spectacle. This is what football's meant to be about. It's like I think went on a thing. I mean, who wants to watch Bournemouth against Southampton? Who wants to watch Burnley against Watford? No one wants to watch that. No, it's not. I'm not being big-headed towards our team, Leeds, but everyone wants Leeds back. Leeds bring something completely different to that league, and they do. You know, everyone's going to want to watch Leeds this year, whether they want to fail, whether they just want to see what they're going to bring. You know, and that got Leeds and it is, and you know, but as regards to the, we know, Joe, we go every week. And we know that Bielsa will not let them ever leave that intensity up. I think even last night, did you know the translator? He started carrying on with the translator, and we thought he'd not said it right. And once someone said in Spanish, he's saying, "You're being too slow."
I think, he told him to speak up, didn't he? Because they kept having to ask him, and he had to go at him. It's brilliant.
Quality.
Yeah, poor lad. He was like,
oh my God, what was
yeah.
He's like that with translator. What's he like with players?
Exactly.
Every week, you know. I mean, us, I think we all, as Leeds fans, we all expect him just to be here this year. God, he wants to stay another year after this year if it goes well, but
see, that's the thing for me. He does this 1 year rolling. I think we were lucky to keep him after losing in the playoff semi-final, but he knew that he had unfinished business. He's took us up. Depending on how well this season goes, will depend on if he stays. If we get that top 10, and he looks at it and thinks, another season and I could be pushing on for Europe here, he probably will stay. It all depends how the season pans out. But listen, we had an absolutely fantastic start. You couldn't have asked for more apart from a point or at least, a result. But yeah, a lot of respect. I was looking this morning, obviously, and the fact that we've got Hull in the Cup, Fulham, and then Sheffield United, and then City. I was like, I just want to get these three out of the way and then get another big boy. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm disappointed that we've had Liverpool. And then we've got to play League One Hull and crappy Fulham. Do you know what I mean? Though it's just felt so good to be back. Keith, from the performance yesterday, where do you see the landline? I know it's only one game. But where do you think this Leeds United side can go after? Bearing in mind as well, like you made a point yourself about the centre-backs, we could still bring in more additions. Rodrigo de Paul was liking tweets again last night, linking in with Leeds. Yeah. And I did make a point as well, saying if you're a player who's 50-50 of coming to Leeds and you watch that yesterday, you think, I'm having a bit of that. Do you know? Yeah. So a few more additions, maybe one or two. Where do you see the land lying?
I think comfortably top half finish for Leeds, to be totally honest with you. So I think there's some teams in there that have improved, like Everton have bought players to improve. Wolves will be a tough team, but like Sheffield United done excellent last season, and the break is what scuppered them. Up until then they were flying, and the reason they were flying is because they played a system, and we spoke about them during the night as well, Joe, on AirPod, was they play a system with overlapping centre-backs, and people don't know what to do with it. And Leeds are going to be the exact same. You touched on something there. Players looking at that yesterday will be like, I want a piece of that. And if they don't want a piece of that, then you don't want them at the club. So it's a great way, the ones that are going to come in are going to be the ones that will run through brick walls for you, which is brilliant. And I think, a couple of signings, and I think not a couple of signings, but, a good couple of additions to that squad, whether they're first team players or whether they're supplement the first team, I think Leeds will comfortably be top half. I think there's a big six, traditional big six in there, and there's not many European places, but I think Bielsa is going to surprise so many teams this season. I think one thing I will touch on, you spoke about Bamford there earlier. He's not prolific. When he missed that chance before he scored, I was in another WhatsApp group with lads, and there's a few Leeds fans, and they were lashing him over, and I said, look, he's not prolific. He'll get you the odd goal, but he won't do enough for you. And he scored literally as I sent the text. So he done that. But I still stand by that, he's not prolific. And Rodrigo isn't prolific either. Rodrigo's only got something like 40 goals in 250 games for Valencia. He's not a prolific forward. But what they are is they're busy and they bring players in. And people will look at that. Similar, again, touching on Sheffield United, David McGoldrick done it last season. I think David McGoldrick only got 1 or 2 goals. But he was player of the year. He was the Irish player of the year. He was, he brings players in and he makes things happen. And I see Leeds will do that. They won't have in my opinion, and I could be wrong, in my opinion, they won't have a 30 goal a season striker, but they'll have goals coming from the midfield. They'll have goals coming from whoever does play up front, but it won't be a prolific Harry Kane, let's say. It'll be, 12, 13 goals from the centre forwards, and that'll be enough, that'll be enough to keep us in it if you get goals from elsewhere. But is there any major links apart from Rodrigo de Paul? Is there any other players being...
There's the centre back,
Croatian fullback as well, isn't there?
Yeah. There's the Croatian centre back, I believe. But again, he's only 20. He's a young lad. But I think that one's maybe signed, sealed, delivered. To be fair, I think that will be done. But like you say, Rodrigo de Paul coming off the bench yesterday for Pablo as opposed to a Roberts, for example. Roberts looked busy, but yeah, I do think we need that little sprinkling of quality. So we'll have to wait and see. How disappointing was it for you, Jack? To I think the frustrating thing for me was the fact that they all came from set pieces, 2 penalties, a free kick, and of course a corner. I mean, the defending for Virgil van Dijk's. I mean, I put that Koch debut being a little bit weak. I think he was checked by Mane, couldn't get there. I do think with the Salah, with the third one, because they haven't played together, maybe if there's that communication built up, that doesn't happen because they both go for the same ball. Strout gets his head on it. Salah just sits back, wait for it to come in. Bam! What a finish, by the way. But how disappointing was it to go down to 4 set piece goals, mate?
I mean, I have no complaints over either penalty. I've seen a few going on about there's this rule about it's a deflection.
He's like that, isn't he?
His arms at a 90-degree angle. It's a penalty all day long. Rodrigo, no one can complain about that. He took him out. It is what it is. The one disappointing one is Van Dijk. When you watch it after, he runs from the edge of the box, and you need to be strong as a defender. You need to yourself, and like I say, Koch, I think he did get muscled out of the way. Van Dijk, which we know is one of the best headers, attacking headers on a corner in the Premier League. He's so many goals. We know that he's the one man you need to watch. I think in the second half, I think they were putting Phillips on him. Now maybe to recognise that, said we need someone a bit more oomph, bit more thing, and just block him, stop him, drag him, kick him, do whatever to stop him getting there, and it worked. But the Salah strike, I mean, come on, when you watch it,
it's a good finish.
You could not have put it in any more perfect position. You watch it with just like that, wasn't it? Wherever corner flag and corner post and crossbar meet. It was straight. No keeper has saved it. So no.
Yeah, you make a good point. I think in when Virgil van Dijk had one disallowed, there was a similar sort of move. I think Koch tries to get through, and this time it was Jones that blocked him off, and Virgil van Dijk was free again. And that time we got the free kick, which on another day we might not have got away with. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I thought it was a little bit soft, if I'm being honest, but obviously grateful. Is that something that Liverpool employ a lot of the time? Obviously, block the runners so Virgil van Dijk gets that free header, because he's absolutely lethal, isn't he, in the opposition box, Keith?
Yeah, he is. It's something that we want to see more of, that way, as from the fans. He gets a few goals, Virgil does. He's so dangerous on them. He's so big, but he's quick, and he gets up and he connects with the headers. You see some players that go throw Harry Maguire in there. When you see Harry Maguire gets free in the box and heads, and he's got such a mallet head, right? And he heads the ball, but he never makes the connection. Like Van Dijk gets the header, and it's a bullet header. Like the likes, and it's not a dig at Maguire, but he doesn't connect as well. You think it's easy for a centre half to be doing that, but it's not. But Van Dijk is probably the best header of the ball in the Premier League. And when he's running freely like that, as you both said, a free run, and he gets up a bit of momentum, there was no chance. I've seen the keeper getting a bit of criticism. And what can you do? Do you know what I mean?
I agree, mate. Jack, well, just coming close to the close. I mean, which was your pick of the goals yesterday? I mean, I thought the goal from Jack Harrison was special. It was lovely to see KP pick it up and just ping it out to the left, and for Jack to get round Trent and Joe Gomez, and then just put it back Alisson. But then, of course, Clicks as well. I'll let you go on, talk to me.
I'm going to say that I have always said this thing about Jack Harrison. His first touch is absolutely unreal. I have never, the ball can come at him at 90 mile an hour and kills that ball dead. And again, Calvin pings it over, his touch comes inside. I think he made Trent, went another touch, and that was my goal at game. It was all the goals.
I do love Costas. I mean, for me, when I'm watching it and we're doing the watch along, I see that ball come in and I go, that's shite. But then you realize, you know, because it's coming in low and that, and I'm like, where's that going? But if you watch it back, obviously, Click just says to him, I want it there, and the pace in which it's fizzed in, and he's able to take a touch, then bang it in. That was my favourite. I mean, were you impressed with the manner of the goals, Keith?
Oh yeah, it really was. I mean, the two of them goals were excellent, and I know we spoke about Salah's goal as well. Like, there was some excellent strikes, and even look, Bamford took his one well after the miss that just happened before. You know, he got an opportunity, it came to him, and he instinctively took it in. But my pick of the goals, including the Salah one, my pick of the goals was Click's. I thought was amazing. You know, to flick it and to score on the volley like that. I just thought it was great. I thought it was it's, like I said, 3 very good goals for Leeds, but that one was exceptional. I thought there was good quality in the finishing yesterday from Leeds and Salah, especially, and Virgil.
Yeah, it's not something you would label at Leeds under Bielsa being clinical, but yesterday we were absolutely clinical. It was class. I think 3 shots on target, 3 goals. Do you know what I mean? It was mint to see, and that's what we'll need to be. That's what we'll need to be. That's one thing we have to be, because, you know, although you might look at yesterday and disagree, but in some games chances will be few and far between. So when they do come, you know, we need to take them. Or maybe I'm wrong, because yesterday proved, you know what I mean? Maybe that won't be the case.
Yeah. I think we're going to have a 4-3 every game this season. Then.
It's going to be exciting. It's definitely going to be exciting.
Sure.
It's going to be box office. I'm so excited for it. So I guess what we'll do is I just want to ask for each year's man of the match, really, just to get your thoughts. I think for me, I mean, you might agree, and it might make this little section boring, but I'm gonna go Luke Ayling personally. I just think the defensive job he did on one of the best, you know, attackers in world football. What he did to Mane was absolutely exceptional, and there'll be much easier attackers that he'll have to come up against, and if he does half a job, then you know, we'll be fine down that side of the pitch. I'll come to you, Jack, before we let Keith finish.
I'm gonna agree with you, Joe. Ayling man of match for me, but I'm gonna extend that a bit. That I thought his attacking play was absolutely fantastic as well. He up and down that line, he helped the front, you know, like attacking. Yeah. So I thought he was just fantastic all game.
Yeah, we did the watch along, and Oscar was saying, I think he broke down the right, and Oscar made a point of saying, we can't afford to do this, we need to set back, and I just disagreed with him on the stream, because I'm like, mate, it's Bielsa, he's never going to say where he's going. That's the whole point of our football, you know. They're going to be times, and we might get caught out for that, but that's fine, because I think we'll be fine. And Keith, who was your pick? I mean, you can go Liverpool if you want.
Oh, I intend to, but no, I do agree that I thought Ayling was amazing, but I'm going to go with Salah, because from a Liverpool point of view, it's Salah's best performance in a long time for Liverpool. You know, you don't watch Liverpool, but from a Liverpool fan point of view, he looked electric yesterday. Jurgen Klopp said it after the game as well. 2 penalties on a hat-trick. You might think that's 2 penalties, but his all-round play, I thought he was good. He was looking for the ball. He was driving at them. You know, I thought it was a really good performance by Salah. So I'd go with him from a Liverpool point of view, but I couldn't agree more about Luke Ayling for Leeds. I thought he was absolutely brilliant. I thought he was excellent. Couldn't fault the performance defensively and attacking. I thought he was really good.
Yeah, great. And I think Salah's the first person ever to score a hat-trick on the opening day of the Premier League. Is that right?
No, I think Ravanelli got a hat-trick against Liverpool, I think, in 96 for Middlesbrough. Right. That's in my head. I could be wrong, but I think Ravanelli got one.
Okay, or maybe... I know I've seen
maybe the first Liverpool one. I don't know. Maybe
possibly, yeah. I've seen something that he's the first player since Teddy Sheringham to score on the opening day. 4 seasons in a row. Which
nice little record.
It's nice. He's some player in here, and it makes me laugh to think that Mourinho moved the likes of him and KDB on from Chelsea when they were there. It's absolutely insane, isn't it?
It is, because they weren't being blocked by, you know, you wouldn't say, well, they were behind the Messi or they were behind the Ronaldo. You know, there was opportunities to play them, but Mourinho's a certain manager that plays a certain way, and he likes a certain player. He likes a big physical player in every position he can get them. So maybe Salah fell through the cracks and Kevin De Bruyne fell through the cracks, but Lukaku was another one I thought he was made from, and he just never got his chance. But Mourinho takes the credit for discovering them in the first place. So you never want to miss out on a bit of self-praise, is he?
No, definitely not. Definitely not. Be interesting to see how that Everton-Tottenham game goes a little bit later on. I know I'll be watching. Just before we finish, Keith, how can we find you, mate?
Yeah, you can get us on Twitter on at LFC Daytrippers, and if you go to the YouTube channel, we do about 5-6 pods a week on that. It's mostly Liverpool, but as we seen the other night, Joe, we're trying to get opposition fans involved, fans involved, like as I down here as ourselves, and you can just catch us on that. You can get me on Twitter at KeithPlunkett4 as well, but you know I'm bored, and you know what I mean. Go with the Daytrippers, lads. It'll be much more exciting stuff than what I have to say. But yeah, listen, thanks for having me on. It was a pleasure. It was great. It's great to do these things, and I'm a big fan of sort of fan media. I think it's the best, without like pontificating around it. It's the best form of media. The mainstream media is gone to shite now, and I just think that this is the best platform for getting fans' opinions across. You know, and they're doing a great job.
It's an accurate representation of what's really going on in it. That's my thought process. Exactly. Not what the media would have you believe. You know, I speak on it all the time. A few
head cases on Twitter will have you believe. You know what I mean? You want people, if you're willing to come on and say a piece, and you're willing to come on and stand over your opinions, fair play. If you hide behind an avatar, or you know what I mean, you never give your own name, and you just lash things out with.
That's why I don't do Twitter.
It's a mad shop. It's a mad shop.
It certainly is. But yeah, make sure you check out LFC Daytrippers. I did a podcast that they do on a Friday, and they don't just talk about the Liverpool game. They chronicle the weekend's games, so you know every fan can watch that, and it was really enjoyable. And the knowledge is second to none. So make sure you check that out.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, we'll leave it there. We've got some exciting things coming up from All Leeds TV. Of course, we've got Hull on Wednesday, so we'll be doing a watch along for that, previews and reviews. We've then got Fulham coming up, and then that's followed by Sheffield United as well. So some exciting games coming up, and then we've got City. Let's hope we can do a job on that. Really excited.
We're hoping for that as well.
Good narrative, Bielsa and Pep. You know,
Pep idolises Bielsa. You know,
he does. It'll be interesting to see how it goes. But thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll leave it there. Leeds.